Good afternoon, everybody. I am Brad Chester. These are cows, and the people underneath me are joining me for the surprise stream because we got the surprise Dataslate. Maybe some of you weren't surprised, but I'm surprised by everything. So let's talk about things and stuff.
So, Brad, the cows need a name. What are you going to name them?
Ooh. Let's go with Sergeant Timmy, the bigger one of the two. And then we're going to just go with Ted. He makes cupcakes.
What about the one behind you, Brad? Is that the lion?
Oh, that's the lion. That was where the lion was. He got polymorphed into a cow. Few people know that. He actually failed his save versus polymorph and was turned into a cow for 10,000 years.
With the llama.
And also, Matt noticed that. He goes, double cow. Also, I'm coming to your house, Matt. I decided at the last minute I'm showing up at this tournament. I was telling the guys that I'm gonna show up this tournament and I'm gonna bring random Eldar just to meme it up. It's like a small tournament, right? They're like, no, it's a GT with 80 plus people. I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna get rolled.
You got this. First round opponent, 30 Desolators.
All right. Yeah. I told Tom, because he's going with this guard, I go, if we play, I'm rolling all my dice behind a wall on a different table in the dark.
We'll allow the player from the next table to shoot you with his hammerhead. Or shoot
exactly. I got special rules, man. You guys want to talk about some Dataslate and some FAQ?
Let's do it.
Best Dataslate ever.
First, I'm going to go straight down the list of what GW put, and we'll just talk about them in order. So, first off, why is a boar now in Purge of the Enemy? It's objective. It's not like a huge deal, but it is just worse.
It's the T-Suns buff.
Why?
So, because now you can't take Abhor and no prisoners and just get blanket points for killing stuff for free. Now you have to choose between no prisoners and Abhor.
Sure, but like Abhor was already only situationally taken, so...
Right. The only time this ever affects you is if you're playing into Grey Knights or T-Suns. So it's a buff for them. It doesn't really hurt anybody else.
Is it a buff, though? Like, were you getting 15 points on no prisoners?
The average Grey Knight list would be an at 15 because you're doing 3 units of interceptors, X number of units of strikes and stuff like that. So you're already past the break point to get at least a 14 there. And T-Suns traditionally, up to this point, were running at least 1 unit of Terminators, which is 30. A few units of Rubrics would be an average like 20 wounds across all the different Rubric squads. And then the old list was the Flamers. So yeah, you'd be hitting no prisoners pretty reliably. And if you're giving them Abhor and that, so basically you get free points for killing my stuff, you create a really negative play experience for both the T-Suns and the GK player because they have to actually play the mission and do the things. Whereas all they have to do is throw something on for primary and kill your stuff and get 30 on secondary.
Meh, whatever.
I mean, I was more concerned when not no prisoners, when Codex Warfare was actually good because it's also in that category.
Fuck this. We're going on with this. Codex Warfare.
Dumpster fire.
It is. You are full of shit. Both of you are, and I knew that you were going to say that. Ready? For you guys that can't fucking turn the dial and go to the next goddamn doctrine level. Yeah, it's shit, okay? For the rest
opponent to have 13 separate activations.
No, it does not. You get 2 per. Dude, when you were taking
13, Brad. Do the math.
Dev Doctrine, yes.
You get 3 for Dev Doctrine. And then you need 10 more kills.
I'm just saying that I'm sorry. I didn't know that you guys were like, I only play secondaries on easy mode. The Codex Warfare, the whole point of it. This is so funny because I listened to some of the GW guys talk about it. This is why I knew this one was going to get smoked. And they're like, the whole point of this secondary was to show you how adaptive Marines play, and they are in dev, and then they're in tactical, then they're in salt. You're like, I only go dev. Click, click, go. Me go boom, boom.
And all you had to do to fix it was to add a line that says that you can score 2 points. It's like when it does the line say 2 points for each kill in a tactical but you cap dev at 3 and tactical at 3, and then the last 10 have to be accrued in assault doctrine. and then you make people actually play or you can only score 10 in Assault Doctrine, and you actually make people take a balanced list that does all three rather than
I'm just
sitting
saying, there's multiple lists that literally, that if you're not just staying in Dev Doctrine, this is a viable secondary. You will probably score 11 or 12 points on it.
Brad, I will give you, no joke, I will give you 2 pub subs if you can, against any competitive player, score a 10 or an 11.
I will crush it, because I will play my current Space Wolves list, and I will literally get a 5 from Devastator Doctrine, 2 from Assault, and the 5 from 5 from Assault, 2 from Tactical, and 5 from Devastator. I will do this. I will make it so that I get 10 plus in every game. Pick any GT you want. I will now take it. Then I'll just play Knights only.
I mean, Space Wolves are probably the only army that could do it.
Related to this, I will say it's actually a fantastic change that they made it to the point where when you put a unit in a different doctrine, that counts now, which is fantastic. Because you can move past Dev Doctrine, but if you still have a good tank with a good battlefield roll, you can use that to go back and score that.
Yeah, I did that. That's in the FAQ. I do like the fact that they said that. So for everybody, if you put something in a different doctrine, it then counts as that doctrine for Codex Warfare. So Wolfen always count as killing in Assault Doctrine. If you use the CP to put somebody in all doctrines, they would count. If their heavy weapons would count as Dev Doctrine again. Same we were talking about the tank. So get 10 points in Codex Warfare with your Eldar. That's the real challenge. You know what? I will not take that pub sub bet on that. Also, I'm always down for a pub sub because they are delicious. So
I think Wolves and Salamanders get huge buffs out of this, because that's the ones now that they can use the doctrine change to be able to do it effectively. If Dark Angels weren't dead, they'd be able to use this pretty effectively.
I don't think, you know what, we're going back to
Dark
this.
Dark Angels aren't dead.
Ravenwing is still amazing. Nothing changes.
The issue with Ravenwing is they don't have good secondaries. What secondaries are you taking with Ravenwing?
Ride the Wind.
That doesn't exist anymore.
I know.
If it existed, I wouldn't be complaining. That was an amazing secondary.
Let's go to the call order secondary objective.
Man,
we'll get to Dark Angels and we'll have our separate opinions.
Let's go.
As the only
for all 2 people who play Deathwatch.
Yeah, I mean it's well, the 2 things let's go to both things though, because they did the FAQ for Deathwatch and basically just said choose whatever doctrine you want to be in, period. So they fixed that. And then they basically said that you score 3 victory points if one of your opponent's armies with battlefield roll have been destroyed, 5 victory points if you can. If your opponent's army with the battlefield roll has been destroyed, this is fine. I mean, it's fine what it is. It
makes them actually playable now.
Yeah, the secondary is just good now. I mean, it was already good. Now it's just really good. It's probably an out of 15, to be perfectly honest. If you have the army, if you're playing against somebody that you can get this, you are getting this. So it's real.
Yeah.
Brute Swarm, basically, they changed all of with the FAQ and the sheet, the secondaries for GSC became slightly harder to take because you have to be wholly within. I don't think this changes them almost at all. You just have to be more basically precise about your movement.
Or just take behind enemy lines.
Yeah, I was just saying, or again, take it behind enemy lines. But I don't think that changes GSC. I will pause at the end of this. I think that after all these things, that GSC is just number 1. But Custodes took a huge nerf on this, guys. I'm not even reading this entire thing because all of their shits their strats have giant names for some reason. They can't double buff the infantry squads anymore. They can choose one buff or the other. Rerolls, transhuman. I think that's kind of a big deal because of the Warden builds that have come out. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I agree.
So did they go down in cost as well?
It cut to 0?
No, not
they cost
not
1.
Like
wait, was that sarcasm or was that actually
CP? Did they go?
No, they're still one. They're 1 CP, man. What are you? They're free. You get refunded.
Yeah.
Apparently, Brandon's got a Custodes
Okay.
army he's been working on in the background that he doesn't want to tell everybody about. This stratagem should cost -1 CP. I get a CP if I use this stratagem.
Would that surprise either one of you with how fast they can put an army together?
No.
Actually, no.
But no, then they actually cost 2, at least on one of them if you're over 5 models. But outside of the random 6 Aluris Brook or the Warden spam list, you don't really see.
You know what? I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna jump out of order here because Shazels. You know, you can't not talk about Tau when you got the Shaz rocking it out. Dude, broadside's getting core with the nerfs to other armies. I actually think that's a big deal, man. Like them with full rerolls, getting a 5-up Field of Pain if you take an Ethereal. That's not fucking around, dude. Especially when you don't have transhuman on these other units or you can't stop one or the other. They're either getting full rerolls. In this meta, those guys with full rerolls, like their average damage deuces a speeder. It's 3 plus D3, average of 2, plus you get immortal for each wound that you do. Like, that's a big thing, man.
Are they strength 9?
Yes.
Yeah.
They wreck things. They mess up tanks. Like, hey, it's a Lehman Russ. Deuces, night, bro. You are gone.
I really do think that there's a cheeky build while guard is being overly prevalent, or even into Iron Hands, where you stay with them at SMS and you just go Mont Ka, and then that way you can advance, shoot without penalty, and now you're like your SMS. You do the auto wounding on 6s to hit, give them Chapter Master, and then you can start like. Honestly, because the SMS ignores cover and it's AP1, so they'll just be making base saves. But on things that have weak base saves,
it's big. Well, even against when you're shooting at, I figure you're shooting in what's big right now, Desolation Reigns. If you shoot with full rerolls on your strength 5s, you know, I mean, it's at 30 inches. You actually win that war, that trade war, because they're not doing shit to you. If you're touching cover, you know what I mean? You're literally putting 24 shots. You're picking up 2 to 3 Desolation Marines every turn. They're doing effectively nothing to you. Because of the fact that you've got a 1-up save and a 2-up, you know, you're basically, you could be on a 1-up with a 5-up Field Pain. You're like, go for it, brother. You know, you're not going to do a whole lot. You actually win that trade. That's why I think it's very interesting. If they were allowing that, I would play that this weekend in a heartbeat. I'd love to put some Tau on the board and see those changes.
Steven, you can convince him, can't you? I'll play Tau.
Still trying to, but we'll get into my reason why a little bit later, but I'm still trying to.
So, yeah. He goes, Sam goes, couldn't get it together for me. You fool. I'll talk about my woes in a minute, because woes literally matrixed anything and went, we only got better, bitches. they shot a bunch of bullets at the Marines and they just weaved around it and just went, what? You got something? I thought
how about those Imperial Fist buffs? What?
Yeah. Look, man, Imperial Fists. Imperial Fists are an army that you play in 10th. I heard that's a 10th edition army.
If they exist.
If they exist, yeah.
No. They're whatever, like one of their key taglines will become a faction, not a faction. What are they called now? Detachment.
Ooh, I want to get the wall real quick, guys, because Dave did.
All right.
He goes, did you think that the Dataslate list is anything of a GW's added towards 9th, or are they phoning it in, or are they actually demonstrating they can balance? The answer to what you said is yes. They are seeing that we have the most armies winning at 49 to 51-ish% than we've had in forever, and the most diverse amount of factions that have won grand tournaments that we've had in forever. And we had a couple problem childs, and they tried to hit it as lightly as they could, and also tenths around the corner. If they fuck up, it doesn't make any difference for them. So, like, yes is the answer to that entire question.
The DA nerf is a little bit over the top, and we'll get on that. I think it should have just become mini transhuman or something.
I thought for sure it was gonna. We'll go to that one next. Screw it. We'll go out of order, because I have been already. I almost went in order, and then there was no adults to stop me, so I went wherever my eye took me. So,
all right, so let's finish up on Tau. Is there anything else with Tau?
No, but the only thing with Tau is the chain. We'll talk about this a little bit at the end. I think that Tau got stronger because of the nerfs to Wardens and Dark Angels Terminators. And we'll just go into that. Dark Angels Terminators. Inner Circle. Delete that 4th point from Inner Circle. Hey, man, you're still re-rolling those wounds of those monsters, bros.
I honestly think this was a over-the-top change. I do not think we're that a lot of people are going to like where the meta is going to go because of DA being so prevalent was holding some things in check. But it's a good change because of how bad transhuman is for the meta and for players in general, right? If you don't have a list that's built to deal with, I mean, we've had the transhuman spam all this edition, so if you're at this point you're not doing that, then please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. But like, you have to be able to deal with transhuman spam lists. And it was just crazy, like when with Cherokee, how we saw how few people were ready just to deal with that many transhuman bodies. So it's a good change. It's a healthy change, but I do not like the change.
I think that they were going to do mini transhuman. I understand it, but I think that they heavy-handed it a bit. Yes, I agree.
But are they actually dead? Because you're still getting 40 plus bodies with the 2 up, 4 up.
I don't think they're dead. I think you have to bring a combined arms army more than you had before. I think that the just straight Terminator spam is probably dead, but I don't think that Dark Angels are dead with that, because I think that you can bring a nice combined army.
I think the DA are dead.
I mean, you can think that. It's okay about it. I mean, I appreciate everybody's opinion, even if it's wrong.
I mean, you told me that I was wrong and that I wasn't going to be able to win Cherokee with DA. So I value your opinion and its accuracy.
Yeah, but you killed me. You killed me. You beat me so bad I went to the hospital. You ruined my... I know. I've been wrong. I'll be wrong again.
It's okay. If it makes you feel any better, Mike Brandt was probably watching that and he poured one out for you by killing transhuman.
He was like, nobody puts my boy Brandt in the hospital with that bad of a beating.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
I also like how Brad's like literally dying on stream and everyone's like, just let him go. Let's not, like take a 5-minute break to assess the situation. Brad's got this.
I'm over there moving Brad's models for him so that we can actually continue.
This is totally normal, 100%. I hope that like if Steven's on the camera again, like if he has a heart attack, I hope somebody will stop the camera and be like, hold on a second, guys. Let's make sure he's okay.
Wait, you can't interrupt rolls, okay? We have to finish the rolls, the hit to wound and everything before we can go verify that he's okay. Otherwise,
there was a full turn where you moved all my models and made all of the rolls.
You were like, I'm going to go over here. And I'm like, do you really want to go over here?
Yeah.
Actually, stop me from taking this objective for you.
I was like, what happened? You should put me there. Whatever. We're not talking about that.
Okay.
Let's go Astrometarum, otherwise known as IG for the rest of life, because Astrometarum is a stupid name.
Yes, it is.
We already knew that this was going to happen. Castricans got capped at 6. Yes, of course it is. Every other unit that does the same thing is capped at 6, everyone. I don't know why. I really think that the guys that are in charge of final processing have English as their 6th language and somehow don't realize that they could have copied and pasted everyone else's rule right now that says you do 6 mortals total.
They legitimately just copy pasted the original version of Wrath of Mars.
Yeah.
They had this exact same problem with Wrath of Mars.
Exactly. It's just like, why? You've already fixed this. It's such a dumb thing. Yes. It doesn't even matter at that point in time. Yes, please. If you guys could like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. Those interns in India. Exactly. Exactly. Charles goes, congrats, Stephen, on putting the filthy death wig in their place. This is like firmly your fault, by the way.
It is. I have literally had people message me this morning either thanking me or cursing me for ruining their army. And I'm like, I blame Manny. He does it over there. Like, he's got 4 200 pluses with Dark Angels because he's just entered people with that list.
Yeah, but no one pays attention to that because they're playing in the UKTC terrain, and they're like, yeah, it's a different game than over there. We only count this.
Fair enough.
Right. I love that. Adam goes, the DA Facebook group is so salty, I will need more fries. I love everything about that. Sam goes, Stephen Crowley, hero of the Sons of Rust.
I don't know, Steven. I feel like this is an opportunity for you to play Space Wolves. Maybe we could get like a shadow nerf on them.
Oh, that's true. That's true. What's coming up? ACO, right? That should be easy to be.
You stay away. Well, you can do all you want. We'll be in 10th edition by then. I'm planning on winning all the tournaments with Space Wolves until the end of time now. So if you need me, I'll be winning GW all events. All of them. I don't even care if I don't play in them. I spiritually won that event. So
if I go to Tacoma and do well, then Brad will have spiritually won the event.
Exactly. I'm there with you. I'm like a force ghost, bro. I'm I'm right there giving you advice. You should do this. Let's talk about the Finio.
Fantastic change. Should have been in there from the beginning.
It's a big deal in that, and I think this is one of the biggest. Everybody's kind of blowing this over a little bit. Finio no longer ignores to hit, and that's a huge thing. Even think about it. We'll just talk about one thing: mortars. Okay, mortars get 17% less hits over the course of the game because they're no longer just ignoring the forest, the dense, the lightning fast, the whatever. Dude, that shit adds up. It's a big deal on that. I think that they did a good job on that. I like that nerf. I like the IGs a lot. I think that they don't affect the overall playability of the army. I think that they make it. Those are good nerfs. Those are nerfs that don't make it so that you can't play the army. It doesn't take them out of the top spot, to be honest with you. It's either going to be them or GSC, but it makes it so that it's not just ridiculously. It's not derp, where you don't have to care about anything that's happening. I think that's the biggest thing.
I do feel like they were missing the Sentinel part where they should have either removed platoon or squadron, whichever keyword for the tanks.
It's also nuts. They have everything. They also have core. I mean, they can get every buff. They can get shot into They can shoot into combat with them. I think you're going to start to see that type of army come out even more so now.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see heavy. I don't even think people had enough Sentinels to play the Sentinel army that we're going to start seeing. So I think that's a big deal. How do you hit 100 points of Space Marines now? You got to make different choices, to be honest with you. Banner's Oath, I like Codex Warfare quite a bit. Or Codex Warfare. I like Shock Tactics quite a bit. And I still like
Behind Enemy Lines.
Behind Enemy Lines is huge. I think that people have overlooked that a little bit in the fact that it's very easy to do with a lot of the aggressive armies too.
Yep.
Behind Enemy Lines is really cool in Trixie 2 with White Scars because of circle or encircle the prey. Which is really cool.
I mean, it's just a big deal on that. Are we going to see some more Thick City coming out, guys?
Oh, this is my favorite change in the entire thing. We have removed the removal of core from the Talos and the Kronos. My Thick City list is back on the menu. For those who do not know what Thick City is, it is a combination of you go into a real space raid, so that you can take an Archon, and then the Archon now can buff all models with core instead of just like the models with Blackheart or whatever equivalent and Incubi. So now all your Kronos and your Talos get core, so they can reroll ones to hit. Then the Kronos take the piece to get reroll ones to wound, and your Talos now hit like Mack trucks. And then your Kronos have really good spray attacks that can get the benefit of Dark Technomancer still, even though it's all consuming because it's not a liquefier. And when you kill things in melee, you revive your Taloses and your Kronoses. So you're constantly churning the list in this really cool thematic, like the things come back up and reanimate. And it's something we don't really have a lot of in 40K because Necrons pretend to be good at it. And I really like this list, and I'm glad it's back.
So how is it staying up with? I mean, you're still gonna have Iron Hands in Devastator Doctor. Is it durable enough to survive through that?
So it depends on the Iron Hands list. Even with the new Desolator Marines, I think it's okay. I was really hoping to be able to try
But with the Artisans of Artist nerf still is there. So you're still not getting that -1 damage against Strength 8 weapons, and there's so many Strength 8 weapons out there right now.
Like a unit of Eradicator should be able to pick up that squad, no?
No.
How?
6 up invuln, D7, so you're wounding on 3s, and then or 5 up invuln depending on the turn, and then
and if I bring my Salamanders in, wounding on 2s.
Bring up your Salamanders, but you're currently the god of
still, because I'm still wounded on 3s of that. You got Meltus plus Thunderhammers coming in. I feel like you're still gonna take so much damage, and you don't have the volume. I don't know. What if we took like a rack spam plus pain engines? I kind of want to put this on the board.
With the 5 up no pain, you realistically have about 12 wounds per engine. So thinking about it that way, I mean, you could just fail 5 up no pain. It's like a boss. And your Eradicators do not really realistically remove an entire squad by itself.
I think it's the combination, though. Those armies that have, like, the close combat plus that are going to be the things that are going to be. I don't know. I want to see this on the board, to be honest with you. In my mind, I'm bringing mass racks plus Drazar and some Incubi, and then just paint engines.
Agreed. And that's my list too. If anybody wants to see this in action, message Chad from Dicehead and convince him to go hockey.
How about those whale guns?
I would love to see this, man.
Guns would actually be a lot better into him because with the mortal and everything, 2 railguns kill 1. I think a unit of broadsides with 4 rerolls to hit actually, and if you're in Montcalm, you get the reroll 1s to wound. I think you could actually pick up a squad.
They won't be in range for that. It's what, 12 inches turn 1?
10 inches on turn 1. 18, 12, 9, I think is Montcalm.
I don't know how your broadsides are getting that close in turn 1, but okay.
Advance. I mean, think that, like, especially if you go second as the Tau player. And remember, the other dumb thing is that Montcalm is closest eligible. So when you're SMSing those Desolators from behind the wall, you can get your reroll 1s to
Put a wound on him and pop that Tau Sept. Dude, let's talk about the fact that we already poured one out for our homies, but do the tiered detachment remove? They removed all the nerfs that the Hive Tyrant no longer has to be the Warlord. You don't lose the Synaptic Imperatives if your Warlord dies, and you can actually do adaptives per game now. Does that do anything to make Tyranids? I mean, I'm pretty sure no one's super sad that Tyranids got RKO'd out of nowhere. So
I really think you need to revert one of the points changes to put them back in a good spot. But even right now, the meta is set up in a really good way to just crush the shit out of Tyranids.
I agree on that. Does this change anything? I mean,
you might see 1 or 2 more armies, but no, I don't think so.
So,
honestly,
and I think that, I don't know, but what do you guys think about this with the overall, with everything that we just talked about? What do you think how does the meta change? Let's go over a couple points. Obviously, Dark Angels, Terminators, obviously we're going to see less of that. We're going to see less of top spots with armies that just wanted to stay in Devastator doctrines, such as Iron Hands and Dark Angels, because they lose a secondary on that they were planning on getting 15s on. Desolation Marines have been trying to pick away at the Cascarans and the Mortars. And then we get a couple things getting added core. I don't think the GSC changes at all, like literally at all. So I think that they're still like S+ tier.
Mm-hmm.
What does the meta look like? What are the changes? Because I think Guard is still either 1 or 2. It just changes slightly with what they look like because we're seeing so many Desolation Marines. But I don't even know if that makes them worse. I actually think that might make them better against the rest of the field. Because all the Mortars and stuff did was say, are you a T3 army with 1 wound? Are you Sisters, Eldars, any of the pointy ears? It picked them up. But like, I'm actually super afraid of them bringing way more Sentinels and shit. That's actually harder to play against.
I honestly think that the top of the meta doesn't change that much, except we remove DA and we add Tau back in. Because I think Tau needed something that was a little bit harder to shift so that they could do Montcalm and score earlier, because a lot of the problems that Tau are running into right now is not enough chaff. So making it to the point where they can play the game earlier and do a lot more damage early is going to put them in a much better spot. And I love broadsides.
So how's Tau playing in the Guard and Gene Stealer Colt?
You take
I would think 32 smart missile shots from a unit would pick up.
Well, it's also that, but they're also the addition of the broadsides. Actually, one broadside unit just destroys a Lehman Russ turn.
Yeah.
So,
and now that they have core, Lehman Russ doesn't clap them back in return.
Correct.
They get 3-ups versus the main gun, unless it's the Dorn or the other, and then they get 4-ups. They're going to be -1 to hit, which, by the way, Guard really freaking hates -1 to hit, period. And they get a 5-up, feel no pain. And you still have to cut through like 3 to 4 shield drones. So it's just like, I mean, there was a reason that this sucked before, and we're just back to where that was.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Yeah, but it sucked before when everything was way cheaper. I mean, broadsides didn't go up in points, but everything else did.
Well, let's talk about a couple armies that also didn't get touched. So we got a couple of the things in Discord. I'm going to put a couple of these together for everyone. Sure. We had things like Orcs didn't get touched, World Eaters didn't get touched. 2 armies with really good secondary games. Are they just playing better? They also had tougher times playing into the armies like Dark Angels and stuff like that. KR was saying that he doesn't think that the nerf's going to hurt the custodes very much. I don't know, to be honest with you. I because it was very CP intensive to do all those buffs. But do you think that orcs and world eaters go up on the tier list, or that they?
I think demons are going back.
Demons,
up.
also demons, yeah. Like, armies that didn't get touched at all with good secondaries. I mean, demons just still have great play. Reality Rebels is an auto 15. I mean, orcs have get the good bits. It's just disgusting. You know what I mean? World Eaters have 2 secondaries that didn't get touched that are both probably 15ers. You know what I mean? You can score a lot of points on that.
But World Eaters still don't want to see Tau, still don't want to see Guard, still don't want to see Iron Hands. Those are still going to be present. They still have the problem of I go first and I go at you, or I go second and I lose the game because they don't have.
It depends. I think it depends on the terrain on that one. I'll give you that. It's going to be very terrain dependent, depending on what set you're playing.
Well, we're moving to summer, so it's going to be a lot of GW events. They'll find out real quick.
True.
I think World Eaters are fine.
We already know 10th edition's coming out in June, so they're not going to get. They'll have a completely different index at that point.
Fair.
So.
I mean, I love that.
Hey, don't crush our dreams. I mean,
I think that demons. I do think. No, I think the demons were already underrated, and I think with these changes, they're actually stronger now into the meta.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the biggest problems that the demons are running into is guard, and guard now the -1 to hit has value because making people drop dice is always incredibly important, right? Yeah,
and the thing is that if demons put you in the corner, it doesn't matter if you table a man. It's the same thing with orcs. You know, if you get stuck in hammer and not even hammer and anvil, just like board quarter deployment and stuff like that, and they just put you in the corner, you could table them on bottom of 4 and still lose the game by 30. It doesn't, it doesn't even matter at that point in time.
Honestly, the biggest problem that the factions that we're listing, though, they're all go first factions. If they go first, their game is so much stronger.
Huge, but I think that demons aren't as bad with that because of the fact that they have such a reserve play. And the fact that they can utilize your shit, you're basically modifying your leadership so they can get significantly closer. They can get auto charges off things too, which is a big deal.
I wonder if I go back to the Bellicor bomb. I feel like the Bellicor bomb is even stronger now.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the thing is that I think they just have play period though. That army's big and and they do have enough attacks to deal with things. Give me a reason why GSC isn't just the #1 army right now.
No one knows how to play them.
I mean, besides that, if you get somebody that's really good, though, they're strong.
You have more counterplay now because of the fact that you can't just take Brood. Now you have Bell and the other. While counterplaying those is not usually the best plan, a lot of times, like they have a harder matchup into Marines now because infiltrators can block Bell effectively for a few turns. But honestly, I think GSC won the crap out of this data slate. Like they got everything. I do think that GSC might have a concern running into Thick City because Thick City is exactly the kind of thing that they don't want to deal with. But me and Nick are going to test this out on the table and see how that goes. I just don't know if people are going to play Thick City competitively. Like, why would you play something that's difficult to play when you can just play guard and just steamroll yourself?
Yeah, but the thing is that there's no hobby lag for Thick City. Like the people that had Thick City before could just take it out of the cabinet and just slam it down at a tournament. So like there's some things that have lag. Like we didn't see as much Desolation Marines and stuff like that because you had hobby lag. You had to get the models, you had to paint the model, you know what I mean? You had all of that going on. The demons can, depending on the thing, like KR goes, can demons play toe-to-toe with GSC? Yes. That is a weird match, though.
Yeah. That's actually a very skill-intensive match, and both of those factions are a little bit more skill-intensive in general. But the demons player has to be really careful about how they allocate their forces to eliminate important key targets because of the fact that GSC will have more bodies and can outscore them in the long run. Like GSC players can win with a 90+ easy being tabled on turn 5 and they don't give a crap. So, especially if they're building properly for ambush and everything. I mean, screening them out, like we said, it's difficult if you don't have an auto screen because they're like, hey, cool, I just deploy within 3 inches and I rod.
It's a big deal on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's strong on that. What do you think? What do you think a Tau list looks like right now, everyone?
Just 20 unit broadsides.
Do you go broadside crisis, Riptide?
I think broadside single tricked out crisis. And then you're going to go probably the Space Pope because he's just got built-in humble stave and he's got good thickness for if you accidentally get things. He also makes it really easy to ATR with him safely. You'll have probably 2 hammers, one being long strike because through boldness victory is dumb. Man, that makes it to the point where you could take stabilized optics or another thing because with through boldness victory on the things you already have basically your multi-tracker. You don't even need to take a multi-tracker now, or you can just have the 2 multi-trackers in the list for awesome goodness. And the good part is broadsides actually with stabilized optics do a really good job of just feeding off of Shadow Sun's aura, which is really hard with the most Tau lists right now because a lot of times you can't feed in the aura to anything unless you run double crisis, and crisis need a little bit more oomph than just your basic broadsides do. So I think that's actually really good too. Man, that feels really good. I want to play my.
I think they have a lot more play. I think the meta's is going to change slightly enough that we're going to see some difference. I'm terrified of guard with 1,000,000 sentinels, to be honest with you.
And GSC hate the Tau matchup because Tau have a lot of volume of fire in unexpected places. And then the rail side stratagem just says fuck you and half that squad too.
Well, yeah. Well, it's the volume of indirect with the thing also because you can pick up a full 20 man because you fire everything and the indirect after kind of thing. So
yeah, I feel really good about Tau right now. I think they're creeping up into low S.
I like this build that's recommended in chat. 200 crude.
200 crude.
I cannot wait until the first RTT, like the one at Dice Head in the beginning of the month, where I can see Brandon running his rail sides with his Kroot spam and just trying to figure out how to unpack that list.
It worked out really well.
I know, and now you have rail sides with core. It's going to be even scarier.
Oh, it's going to be even better. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, thanks. Gilbert's like, I'm running 2 Riptides, 2 Hammerheads, 3 missile units, 2 individual railgun broadsides. That would be fun to play. I think that you might get people all up on your grill, though. You need some trash. Always need the trash. You know how I feel about that.
Fruit for days.
I still don't think missile sides are worth it, period.
No, you love rail sides.
Rail sides are just so good.
Why do you pay points for missiles? I still don't understand that. That makes no sense.
It's the fact that you also just do that bonus mortal. Like, even if they make their save, you're like, yeah, take a mortal still jump. That's just a big deal.
I have killed Archons because it's like, oh, you have a 2-up invul, and it was actually a shame if I was just to pop you with freaking
here's 6 mortals. Looks like you're still dead, bro.
So here's the real question: is Tom going to continue to play guard, or is he going to jump back to Tau?
Oh, he'll stay on guard.
Guard are just so strong right now, dude.
Guard are S+ even now, and they have a good matchup into Tau because they can.
Let's talk about that real quick before we do this. Let's start about our prediction. We talked about a little bit about what we think, but I think that this stretches the haves and the have-nots a little bit more, though, because I think that guard and GSC get pushed fairly far up. I think that Wolves avoiding all of the other Marine nerfs takes them up a notch. I think that they're definitely playing at the top tier of Marine Mojo. But where's everybody else at?
I think Iron Hands are still A+.
So my thing is an S tier. S tier exists as the factions that they're honey badgers. They play their list. They don't need to tech necessarily for the meta because the list is so overtuned or so well tuned that they don't need to care about anything else, and they don't care about what terrain they're on. So in my opinion, that is your guard and your GSC and your Iron Hands, because the strategy that they have is independent. They can just play the game no matter what the terrain type is. That's why I usually put Tau on A, because Tau requires some strategic elements in terrain, right, that make it very difficult to just play it on any kind of terrain. And you see a little bit of that with the Tau struggling at Adepticon, right? Because Tau want to have terrain to hide behind while they're shooting the shit out of you because they don't want to get hit back.
True on that. Do you think the Iron Hands stay up there without being able to get a 15-point secondary, though? I think that hurts them fairly a lot.
I mean, I think so too. But at the same time, like, God, I'm going to be quoting people from our chat, and they're going to make fun of me for this.
Dude, just do like I do. Quote other people, but say it's your quote. I feel like I've said this time and time again.
Sam, my question for you is, right, because I agree with you that Wolves are good. They're A+. They're probably at the highest end of A that you can possibly get to. You have to have decent terrain, or you cannot play Wolves. If I put you on Adepticon terrain, I will beat you 10.
Come on, man. If whoever goes first at Adepticon, it's not my fault that we're. Hold on, let me show. I've got a fork here. Let me show you
But no, I think Wolves are A+, right? I just don't. I think Iron Hands are still good because the thing that they do is just still fantastic. I think they have to come up with new ways to score, but I don't see it being that difficult to be able to build your list for being able to do Bell or do Rod. And yes, you won't be able to reliably score hundreds, but 97s are just as good and win events just as effectively. Just don't play in a RTT with Sean Rice.
Dude, it's just, we're going to have a lot of GW terrain events coming up here. So it's just one of those things, and the melee armies are going to be very strong. And then obviously it's always terrain dependent, but like, God, Adepticon, sorry Adepticon, but you have to up your game. But
Kansas City is the only 9th edition GW event that we have.
We've got two. There's in 2 weeks we have an England event that's running GW terrain. Motor City's running that. The Invitational's running GW terrain. We've got. You said super majors, man. You're just like ignoring them. You're like Motor City. It's only got 8,000 people running at it.
By the way,
hey, the mall is playing GW terrain.
Richmond's playing GW 120 players.
GW terrain, sir.
So Brad,
hold on. Sisters? Apparently, I'm gonna check my texts. I don't know why. I don't check them when I'm not on stream.
What do you think about Sisters, Brad?
What about Sisters? Now that mortars are potentially going away?
Because we still have 1 billion Desolators. Here's the thing. If you're T3 and you're 1 wound, your Eldar, your Sisters and stuff like that, until we don't have a proliferation of indirect, you're not going to go 6-0. You know, I mean, it's just too hard. And when someone is rolling 1 billion D3 or D6 indirect, it's a big thing.
2 girls, 1 cup with cannonses.
Yeah, it's just, and to be honest, fuck indirect. When indirect's good, the meta is stupid.
No, because the problem exists on the opposite side. I know about where you're coming from, but the lack of indirect and people just hiding in fucking buildings all day because GWUs go so far back that you can write a novel while you're trying to get to the back of it is also not healthy and good. And strategic reserves don't let you strike into the back, and we nerf planes. There's a middle ground.
Sure, it's just when you get, I don't know, indirect can suck you can suck a bag of dicks. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
we were meta week.
Was concerned about guard.
Where is Nas?
What came out?
I'm challenging Nas every week. I'm going to England. I'm also coming over to London GT. I don't know how I'm making this happen yet, but I'm going there, and I'm going to beat everyone twice, and then I'm coming back to America. You've heard it here first.
I mean, I hear Brad's going to be working at that street corner in Toledo, so he's got to pay for these trips somehow.
Look, I'm getting over there. I heard it's close. I can drive, right?
Brad is.
Yeah, I think this is a ferry. Yeah.
Trent, as a dirty elf player, just because you don't like indirect does not mean that indirect is not important.
Ready, Sam, right there. I'm going to quote I think
Sam Brad has logged into Sam's account.
Sam 416 said, "From the Psalm of Wolves, every time indirect is good, it's bad for the game, every single time."
So let's go over in 9th edition times where indirect was good. Okay.
Hive Guard, that felt great.
Hive Guard for dumb.
Okay, hold on. Look what I found.
But since the
unnerfed air bursting fragmentation, yeah, that literally put several armies in the dumpster fire. Full rerolling indirect always sucks.
That's fair. You know what? You don't have to worry about full redirect or full rerolls on indirect. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That I forgot. The 10th edition gives you Arth of the Moment, and it doesn't require line of sight for you to target a unit. I hope you all really, really like the what's the tank called in Whirlwinds. Hope you all like Whirlwinds.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I want to pull out my whirlwind. I own literally one whirlwind, and I don't know if I've used it in 10 years.
So when was the last time you used a whirlwind? 6th?
I don't even know, man.
I used the Land Raider, or sorry, the Whirlwind Scorpius.
I was using Whirlwinds in the beginning of 9th because of the fight last strat.
Yeah, but I'm saying like an actual like shooting unit. You didn't even care. You literally used it for fight last. I'm just saying like I can't. Besides that, I don't even know.
Yeah, 8th edition was mostly Thunderhammer fire cannon.
Yeah, I mean BI's been using whirlwinds, but he hasn't been using whirlwinds to do damage. They've been using it to fight last. Fight last in Overwatch. Like that.
All I care about is if it hits.
Yeah,
I don't care if
no one bothers. You're like, I don't. It does damage. Cool, whatever. I don't give a shit. Like,
hey, Brad, we have to talk about something serious here for a minute. So since you're gonna be using Space Wolves and Tower coming back, are you bringing your suppressors?
suppressors are dead to me. No matter how much Sam tells me to bring suppressors, I will not bring the suppressors anymore.
But dude, in our match, they killed more things at range than anything else.
Oh, screw you. Still mad about that.
Like this guy right here. You don't want a suppressor? He's not showing up on camera.
I'm going to make the one. I want to talk about one thing on the list before we go, but I do want to point out my shooting was so bad that Crawley didn't bother to hide at the end of the game because he's just like, you're not going to do anything to me. You're standing in the open against all my last cannons and stuff. He's like, yeah, I don't care. Like
you had literally failed up to that point. I want to say 16 last cannon shots. So at that point, the dice math was so good in my average. Even if you hit and wound with every single one, I was still ahead on attrition.
The better part was we were talking about it. This is a real quote. Crawley goes, I rolled a little bit better than average, but I mean, the mean thing is you suck so much at rolling. That was the bigger issue. And I'm like, oh.
I didn't even need transhuman if you can't even roll a 3, man.
True story. So let me go into chat and whatnot, make sure we're not missing anything. But we kind of got our recap. So I just want to make sure I didn't get any big things from the Discord. We talked about things that didn't get nerfed. We talked about Tau a little bit. We talked about Eaters and Orcs. Nick, before you leave, how about you talk about the new MAGA era of vehicles coming for 10th edition? Make armor great again.
Bro, like Repulsor 13 now?
So do we think after 8th and 9th being an edition where it's all about lethality, that they're finally moving to defensive profiles?
I can only hope not. I never want to go back to a 7th edition where an invisible unit that had a 2-up rerollable save with a 4-up feel no pain and the ability to dump a wound. Fuck that. Just no.
I feel like it's coming. Like, why else would you have an armor or toughness 14 vehicle? I bet you they're going to restrict what your bolters can wound.
I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Have like the proper weapon set. I'm totally fine with that. I just don't want you to not be able to kill something because it has buffs. You know what I mean?
think what's going to happen is where this is going to be an armored edition. They're wanting to move back towards tanks and stuff like that.
I'm cool with armor values. What do you think about that?
Oh, I love tanks. I love big fuck off models. It makes me super happy. I've been super disappointed in and 9th edition where we've literally moved away from tanks, and every time tanks/armor got good, we had to nerf them because of the divide. So this is like exactly where I want to be. I want my big models to be good.
Yeah, I tell you the truth, Kara said this, and Big Brenton's like, bring the knights. I want to kill them with my new broadside list. But on GW terrain, I actually think knights are nuts because everybody doesn't even think about the fact of, oh yeah, reserving things is free now. Come on the side. You know who can see over those little walls? Knights. Like, hey, what you doing by down there, little guy? you guys doing a cookout? Like, dead. I don't know. I don't think. Do you guys think we're going to see like just crazy GSC and guard spam, or are we going to keep having a fairly diverse meta? Call it.
Diverse. I'm diverse, 100%. Why would you go out buy a whole bunch of models if a new edition's coming?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
but
don't really think that we're going to see much in the way of buying shit because right now we know 10th edition's coming out. Everybody knows Index Hammer throws everything upside down. I don't think people are going to want to buy it. And GSC and Guard are probably two of the, like, they're up there in the whole trifecta of GSC, Guard, and AdMech as the most expensive factions to buy into per capita.
yeah. Indirect meta is sad. I love the Josh. Like, I'll be on demons till I die. I think we're gonna have a decent amount. I like where the meta's at. I'm a little worried that we're gonna have a little bit too much of guard GSC, but I think that you guys are probably right that the new edition's so soon that people aren't gonna want to do switches. So,
Be honest, anybody who was going to switch has probably already switched, right? Or already has the models in their hand, right? Like we've had a guard meta since January, effectively.
The only switch that's going to happen is
didn't,
Dark Angels and the Iron Hands or Space Wolves.
We didn't because they weren't available for LVO, and we were all waiting to see if the FAQ just put the hammer down on them, and then it just didn't. You know what I mean? And
Look
then you
at
saw
that we saw from LVO because of it being old hammer, right? Like, I mean, it was still a massive LVO, but we still saw a good amount of drop off.
So I don't know. I'm still excited. I mean, I know the new edition's coming out, guys, but I'm very excited to play right now. I've been really loving. I mean, obviously, I've been playing a lot of Wolves and stuff, but like, I played the World Leaders and Adepticon. I think there's a lot of really fun armies that still can win grand, like GT level events. I think we're still in a good spot, to be honest with you. I think it's maybe less of a good spot, but we'll see. You know what I mean? We've got 2 months left to play. So
2.5, yeah.
I'm down with that. I mean, I still think that you can still bring more shit right now than you could for a long time and win, man. You know what I mean? Like, you can bring way more shit. We've had plenty of times at the beginning of 9th and most of 8th where you went, hey, are you running one of these 3 armies? Well, enjoy not winning the tournament. You can play with way more shit now. Also, I think the team tournaments are even funner. They were always the most fun. I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about team tournaments before, but I kind of like them. But
Brad, you like team tournaments?
I know. But team tournaments right now have more options than they ever have because you can play against more shit.
Brad, my question for you then becomes, do you think that at an equal skill level that Space Wolves can play in the guard currently?
What terrain?
Dude, there's my answer, Sam. You have my answer. But no, GW terrain.
Yes. Okay. GW terrain, yes. I 100% have that. I think that.
What about player place?
Player place, it depends on the player place. You know what I mean? Do I have real terrain to player placed? You know what I mean?
Did you get the middle?
No, the middle is a big thing on that.
Do you want me to show you that picture of the train I played on a couple years ago?
Jeez. Again, I just went to Adepticon. You can never do anything worse than that.
Oh, no. His picture is worse.
I don't know if that's a thing.
It's a real thing.
They gave me an impassable rock, bro. I would rather have nothing than go, if I place this here, you can't see me for a turn, but I also can't move through it. Is this a joke? Is this like some sort of reality TV show that I didn't know I signed up for?
You can fly. It'll be fine.
Please send him the picture so he can put it on the stream so everybody
knows
what we're talking about.
We have to keep it going after 2.
You can't have that. I gotta actually do things now. So I would love to come to BFS, but I can't. Money, health, everything else. I'm poor. I'm going to a tournament this week because they're basically kidnapping me on the way to Matt's house, and my total investiture in this weekend is going to be like a nickel because I'm just going to eat other people's scraps that they leave on the table. Like, you put something down, you leave it alone for too much, Brad's eating that shit. That's what's happening.
Is this different than any other day?
I mean, not really.
Brad, I said it by Facebook Messenger. Put that up on the screen.
Hold on. That's not a real thing, is it?
This is 100% a real tournament.
Look at the background. There's a bunch of table sets that way.
I am now going to show people this because I don't even understand. I'm titling this "What the Fuck." All right, everyone. I need everybody to see this before I let everybody go.
I will provide context. This was an RTT happening at an anime convention in South Bend.
What?
Yeah.
Look.
And then the prizes were first place, you got a whole table terrain, but not the 3D printed terrain, just the MDF cutouts. Second place, you got a different terrain table, and third place got a different terrain table. Then everybody else got one piece of terrain, depending on where they were.
I feel like if I walked into this, I would think that they were just fucking with me, and then they were going to finish putting the tables out.
I already paid to walk in to see this. I'm like, shit.
What?
Like I had Dark Angels. I'm like, this is back before Tau was prevalent. So this was October before the Tau Codex launched.
Oh, back in the day.
Where was this? What state is this?
South Bend, Indiana.
What? So like,
this is a real event. Like, Brad, so I won first because I had Dark Angels, and my strategy was to go first and table people.
That's an excellent strategy. I should roll.
I to go first and table. Like I tabled a Night Army in two turns because of this terrain. You can't hide anything.
Yeah. No, Adam actually goes, "Is this AOS?" No, because this isn't enough terrain for AOS. I love it. Michael goes, Indiana.
100% a 40K tournament.
Indiana isn't a real place. This is. I live in Ohio, and we make fun of Indiana. They're next to us. We're like, yeah, get out of here, man. Nobody wants to be identified with you. Aren't you burning toxic waste? Yeah, but we're still not you.
Did you hear that they cleaned up the waste, put out a truck, and then the truck drove and dumped it all on the road?
Yeah, we like just can't stop fucking things up. What? I cannot stop looking at this. What is the deal with that?
This is a 9th edition tournament terrain setup.
We need to find the STLs and get this, Brandon, so that at the invitational, the tables can be this table.
Adam, this is it. Okay. I like that. You know, I don't even have anything. I'd like to defend. Apparently, some places in the U.S. are insane. What the fuck was that?
When people complain about Tau and Guard, I look at this table and I'm like, yeah, I understand.
At your local LGS, it must be really rough.
What the actual fuck? All right, well, I'm glad you guys stayed with us and we had relevant conversation, and then Brandon broke my brain by showing me that.
This is the second time this week I've given you a stroke.
We're going to talk more about this tonight. 7 o'clock, we're going to talk about painting. We're going to talk about hobbying. We've got Leon, we've got a girl professional painter on. Yeah, so, and then we've got Brenton on. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Dataslate, and he's going to talk a ton about Tau. That is tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the only time zone that I acknowledge. So that's what it is. Just buy pizza and use the boxes. I would much rather use the pizza boxes than that.
You could make L's out of those.
I mean, it's pretty cool beer hammer terrain, not going to lie.
I don't.
Just use that wine bottle. Just set it on the table.
I like that. Women, girl. What is this? Girl's another word. I love it. 7 o'clock, everyone. Please join me.
Yes, Leia is a woman, and she's going to be part of Boo Crew.
It's true. She also paints like a motherfucker. She painted an entire army in like 2 days. She's a Brandon level of fast painting.
Oh, we're racing right now. All those bases I made for the corn army are for her.
Really?
Yes.
I love everything about this. Both you guys are just going to be like, I painted an army. When? You didn't see it? Right now. So,
we were actually, one last thing, we were chatting. So we're making the general assumption that 10th edition is coming out in late June, like 24th, 25th. So I'm going to invite them over, and I think we're going to stream building and painting those armies that come in the box while we have people in the background playing on the gaming table.
Also, tomorrow, join me for whatever time Brandon actually makes it out, because Brandon and I are going to stream tomorrow. I don't give a shit what he's doing. I've been trying to set this up for, I don't know, the entire year of 2023. But tomorrow, Brandon's going to paint and hobby, and I'm going to talk shit about things. It will be tomorrow afternoon at some point in time. He can tell you that. That is his schedule.
I have no idea. We'll figure it out tomorrow.
You'll get about 5 minutes notice. You'll get even less than you did today. And we will be on talking about hobby, stream, maybe some sports. I don't know. I can't be stopped. There won't be an adult again to stop me from talking about whatever I want. So who knows? So on that note, everybody, does anybody want to prop anything up? No.
Well, I'm chatting tomorrow, so I'll just do it tomorrow.
True.
All the ball. Come Saturday, Chattanooga. Well, technically north of Chattanooga.
Cleveland, Tennessee. 20 minutes north of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
That's not.
There's currently
place.
26. It is. That's where the infamous Piss Hotel is.
Oh.
Why are we bringing up bad memories? But yes, come and convince Chad to allow us to use the positives of the Dataslate so that we can enjoy the.
No, we're using the whole thing. If we're gonna do it, we got to use the whole thing.
No. That's terrible.
No. Let's do it. I have 2,000 points of Space Marine or 20,000 points of Space Marines behind me. Let's do this. Let's go.
All of the things, some of the stuff, my friends. So, deuces, everyone.